understanding your target scope, how to find your targets, and where you can find cloud assets, and what after finding them, and what if you are a beginner or noob with cloud. So let me tell few things about speaker. Bhagwan is a passionate security researcher with expertise in cloud, web, network, and mobile. He has earned well-deserved spot in the top 500 bug hunters in the world on Bugcrowd. With his remarkable skills and the real-world experience, Bhagwan brings a wealth of knowledge of to the table. So, without any further ado, I want Bhagwan to take the session. Bhagwan, I hope I am audible to you. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, you're audible. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are loud and clear to us.
Cool, cool. So, yeah, as part of formality, I have to ask, right? Am I audible? In any online meetings, we'll be asking, am I audible and all. So, anyways, good evening, folks, and good morning, folks, from wherever you are joining this meet. So, myself, I'm Bhagwan. So, I'll just start sharing my screen. Let me know if you are able to view the screen, right? Arif, just confirm if it is visible.
Yeah, it is visible. It is visible.
Cool, cool. So,
Yeah.
hey folks, welcome to the talk. That is an bug hunters approach to find misconfigured cloud assets. Right. So this is indirectly leveling up your bug bounty game. So let me be clear about this session. Right. So this session is going to be not for completely beginners who are not into bug bounty or not into the cloud. Definitely, because this is for someone who are already into the a little bit of bug bounty, but who are really upset or depressed with their hunting skills, right? And this is for the someone who are really beginner in the cloud, right? So with that saying, uh, as I said, this is not completely for beginners because for bug bounty, you're including your cloud assets in this, right? I'll be talking about the leveling up your scope, right? So you'll be focusing upon how you can increase your attack surface, which is directly proportional to leveling up your scope. So at the same time, you should be aware of minimal service names. Are obviously, if you are a bug bounty hunter via LinkedIn, via Twitter, via Google, from somewhere else, you'll be getting to know about few cloud services, right? Let's say, for example, most common service AWS S3 buckets or GCP storage buckets, something like this, right? Sorry for one thing, I'll not be able to see the chart since my entire full screen is covered with the presentation. But in between the presentations, I'll navigate. I'll walk you through the some concept which I'm actually talking about. Right. This is not a monolith. Monologue that I'll be just talking to you, and in the end, you'll be typing the questions. Right. And the second most important thing, please ask your questions in the chat because asking is very important. That since you have joined, this is just like a closed room, right? The Google Meet is just like a closed room where you don't know each other. Like you might having that imaginary something called shyness or something else that people will definitely judge you if you ask them questions. So I don't encourage this kind of mentality. Please be free with me, and you can ask me anything. Like you can just ask me, how is your life going, right? Why are you like this? Huh. So you can ask me such questions too. So please be comfortable. And if you have any questions regarding this session, or if you have any questions regarding getting into cloud security, or integrating your cloud skills with your bug bounty hunting or something else, you can always text me via LinkedIn, Twitter, somewhere else. I'll definitely post my handles in the end, right? So I want you to sit with the focused mind, with nothing in your mind, no expectations, nothing. I'll be sure that by the end of the session, you'll not remember a particular methodology, or you'll not be focused on a particular tech stack. I'll make you able to think yourself depending upon the target, right? So, sorry for one thing that I'll be talking entirely in the attacker's perspective itself, imagining myself as a bug bounty hunter right now. Okay, I'll be presenting you the concepts. I'll be presenting you some stuff with the my perspective. You might have seen the same concepts. You might have heard the same concepts somewhere else. But yeah, definitely you'll see what I look at target, how I look at attack surface, right? With that, so some shameless intro about me. Definitely, I had to do in every other talk. So my name is Bhagavan Bollina. You can find me with the ex criminal in all social media platforms except Instagram, because Instagram has banned me with that name. So I'm from basically from Hyderabad, the Hyderabad which is in India, not in Pakistan, and I'm an ex cloud security engineer at Apps Echo. So since I'm an Hyderabadi, I love biryani. If we meet anytime in the outside, right, please get a biryani for me. And over a period of time, I realized that I'm a really a good dog trainer
Where are
because
you from, Bhaiya? Hyderabad.
uh,
Guys, please don't unmute. I don't want any interruption in the session.
right.
Sorry for the session.
So I'm a dog trainer
Yes,
too,
yes.
because I had three dogs, so I trained them very well. They behave disciplined only in front of me, not in front of others. So for the namesake, I've done a couple of certifications, but definitely I got great insights, which actually led me to do a couple of more community engagements. Right. So the certifications are certified Azure Red Teaming Professional, and recently I have passed the EWPTX V2. And then last year I was performing some trainings and also I had to have the entire basic architect skills in the AWS. So I had to do the AWS Solution Architect, and then CRTP, Red Teaming Professional, and then CEH. So all these are like I've done within 2 to 3 years with the passion and the interest to learn about something else. So I had always having this kind of approach that we are not actually um, bounded with a particular tech stack or bounded with some web application or mobile application. I had multiple experiences solving web CTFs, Android CTFs, right, and then cloud CTFs. So even I recommend you to do CTFs a lot, so which actually helps you to get great insights on security, right? So today's agenda, definitely this is the most important thing, understanding your target scope, right? So why I took this as a special topic, why I had to put this as a special heading, that understanding your target scope, when it is already mentioned. Let's say for example, if you are hunting in your HackerOne on Bugcrowd or Integrity or Pentabug, let's say there are few famous, right, Detective 5, Synac, these companies have already published the scope, right? Let's say for example, in scope, uh, some biryani.com, right? Out of scope, some, let's say, kebab.com, or else some let's say any other .com which is an out of scope, right? But why I had to put this understanding your target scope, we'll see in the next slides, right? How to find your target's PAAS is like platform as a service. So I'll just give a brief idea about the second line. How to find your target's PAAS is, imagine if Bug Bounty Brigade is a company, huge company, which deployed their whole web application assets, every asset, right, every internet asset, they are going outside, right, all of the assets which are deployed in the either AWS cloud or Google cloud or Azure or DigitalOcean or some other cloud vendor. Your platform as a service is a cloud provider, right? So uh, your first statement, understanding your target scope, is actually related to the second one, how to find your target platform as a service. Because once you find your target platform, let's say if Bug Bounty Brigade, the whole company is hosted in the AWS cloud, now as an attacker, now you have to think about what all assets can go public, right? What all developers that can do their mistakes, right? Or what all sys engineers or ops engineers or anyone in the company, right? Anyone from low level to high level, how they can do mistakes with the services. There is always this concept of default configuration, and people who have configured it by mistake, they might have done misconfigured. I mean, they'll do misconfiguration in this. So as an attacker or as a bug bounty hunter, what can you go and find out there? And how can you first of all identify which cloud it is? First of all, if you can identify which cloud it is, then you can plan your attack path, right? I mean, again, there is a other thing that you have to remember. You might have heard the concept, you might have seen this concept somewhere else, but as I said in the beginning itself, you will be I'll be walking you through entire these concepts, but you will view the concepts with my perspective, right? So why you're finding your platform as a service is really important as a bug bounty hunter, right? How can you find the cloud assets? Once you identified what platform it is, where and how can you identify what cloud assets you have to hunt on, right? And then what after finding them? Imagine you have found some misconfigured S3 bucket or public repository snapshot. So you found out that there is some sensitive information in that snapshot, or there is some SSH keys in that S3 bucket, right? So what all you have to do then? Finding, taking you to finding them is okay. What after finding them, right? Four things are actually correlated. The last one is not correlated. That is, what if you are a beginner? First of all, I had to put this in the first line, but I don't want to, because uh, this is not. This is not completely bound to a particular tech stack or something else, right? So this is the last question: that what if you are a beginner in the cloud? Even if you don't know how to exploit a particular misconfiguration, even if you don't know how to exploit some particular service, that is completely fine. In the end, I'll be walking you through some particular resources where you can read, study about the service or study about the misconfiguration, and then perform your exploitation part. Right? So that is the reason why I didn't put this. What if you are a beginner in the starting itself? You'll start expecting, acha, this is for some beginner session. No, this is for beginner as a cloud, not as a bug bounty hunter. Okay, so there is a difference. Cool. Let's dive into the session then. Understanding your target scope. Let me understand one thing. So, have you ever hunted on any other domain? Let's say, um, bug bounty requires a lot of patience, as you all know, right? You might never know your finding can go duplicate. Your finding can, sometimes you wanted to find something else, but you'll not be able to find even a single low hanging one, right? Then how many of you normally ask, I'm just asking a question, like how many of you hunted on a single platform for 30 days, for 1 month? Just wanted to see your responses in the chat, dude. As I said, this is not a monologue. I want you to respond and be comfortable. So how many of you, I'm repeating the question, it's totally fine even if you you have never hunted, just reply with no. How many of you hunted on a single platform for 1 month?
Myself.
Okay, please text in the chat itself. Please don't unmute yourself. No. Okay. Between targets. Okay, I can understand. Now is this Alpesh? Totally newbie, never hunted but planning to write to learn stuff. Definitely. Okay, hours. Yes. Okay. Super. The reason I asked this question is, imagine if you have hunted for 1 month. Again, this question is based if the target scope is very, very, very much limited, right? When I say it's very, very, very much limited, it means it has hardly one or two domains, right? Which you don't have any other scope, and in that domain, so there are hardly one or two features and one or two functionalities, right? So there is no point in hunting for 30 days on a single domain, something like that. I'm talking about a domain which has a wildcard scope, right? There are multiple subdomains, multiple cloud assets, right? But have you ever observed the companies won't mention their targets? Their in scope as their cloud stuff. So this is where the research starts. I'm damn sure that you have never heard this particular topic, because I have been hunting since long time. I have never seen any company mentioning their platform as a service, let's say, because they don't want to do it, right? Because there is a concept called shared responsibility model for every cloud provider. Let's say this bug bounty brigade company has deployed their applications and stuff in some cloud provider. Now, security on cloud will be taken care by whom? Security in cloud will be taken care by whom? Right? Did you understand the question? Security on cloud, security in cloud. So basically, that is the reason why people migrate to the cloud. There will be some basic protection when the stuff get deployed in the cloud itself. This is not something like on-prem that I can do a DOS attack on the local hosted server, right? So understanding your target scope is anything, any information that is related to your target can increase your attack surface. I'll prove in some couple of minutes later any information that can increase your attack surface, because that is related to your target's information. How can you correlation? How can you correlate? So that is very important. And the second one is domains, subdomains, ASN, net blocks, right? All these are important to increase your attack surface. I'll tell you how can you divide your subdomains, types, correlation part. And the third one is internet presence. When I say internet presence, social engineering, I mean domain names, domain emails, right? User emails, usernames, searching the same usernames with the in the GitHub and Bitbucket, right? And then any internet presence of the domain can help you, right? And fourth important one, infrastructure information. So let's say there is a target called Bug Bounty Brigade, okay? So they have mentioned that bugbountybrigade.com is in your scope, okay? Now, I know hearing all this information will be such boring, but I'll promise you just wait for a couple of minutes. So in infrastructure information, how can you get this, right? How can you get the platform information? So you'll be seeing in the next slide, which can help. As I told, all these steps, first of all, are correlated. Just wait for a second, you'll understand why I'm talking about infrastructure information, internet presence, domains, subdomains, ASN, net blocks, and internet presence of information of your target, right? So I've taken this particular diagram from the 0x Patrick's. You can search it from the in his blog, I mean Asset Discovery. I've taken this diagram from there. So basically, as I said, let's say google.com, okay? Your google.com horizontal subdomains will be your youtube.com and blogger.com, and vertical would be maps.com and scholar.google.com. You might have seen this multiple conferences, multiple talks, but still I have kept this because I wanted to relate here something else. If you clearly focus it right, google.com is your main domain, which has a vertical, something called maps, something called scholar, but your end domain is same, google.com or google.com. But if you see in the horizontal one, right, you will observe something different. This is google.com, this is youtube.com, this is blogger.com. So before going to the next step, I'll tell you one more thing. Imagine if you found some vulnerability or misconfiguration in the YouTube, right? You will not be reporting to the YouTube, you will not be reporting to the blogger.com. You'll be reporting it to the google.com, right? So these are called acquisitions. Right? There are a couple of Google acquisitions. If you find any vulnerabilities or any bug in some acquisitions, you'll be reporting it to the Google, not to that particular domain owner. Right? Now, when it comes to the vertical domains, let's say maps.google.com or scholar.google.com, similarly same case. These are belonging to the same google.com domain. Right? Here comes the interesting part. Up to here, you might have seen in almost common talks. Now, where is the cloud part? As you all know, people are migrating it to the cloud. There is a huge chances, not only huge chances, there is a 90% cases if your google.com, maps.google.com, scholar.google.com are deployed in the same cloud provider. That means AWS, Google, or Azure. Since this is Google, definitely it's going to be GCP. Okay, definitely it is going to be GCP. But imagine a third-party case. Let's not talk about this particular image. Imagine a third-party case. Let's say bugbountybrigade.com is your domain, and their subdomains are something like this, right? So their cloud provider would be definitely same, right? All of the subdomains are deployed in the most of the cases in the same cloud provider. I'm not talking about acquisitions. Acquisitions sometimes it might be same if it is a sister company which has been developed and deployed at the same time and all. But imagine a case where they have acquired it very recently of different company from a different background itself. Then there is no surety that they have deployed in the same cloud platform. It might be AWS, it might be GCP, it might be Azure, it might be anything. Right? Up to here it is clear, right? Just want to understand. Up to here it is clear, or if you have any questions. Any questions, folks? Clear, right? Awesome. So let's go to the next one. How to find your target's platform as a service, right? So before going to here, just let's go back. So I have a question. Why didn't you people ask me? As I said, that I'll be walking you something at least, practically, right? So I have few things, right? There is a censussearch.com, there is a showdown.com, there is search assets, search spotter. And you might be thinking, dude, why are you showing some third party websites? Don't we have any command line tools which can resolve our subdomains for us? Definitely there are a lot of hell lot of tools. If you see any other videos, right, any other talks, they might have mentioned it, but I don't want to mention it because already it is mentioned by someone else from somewhere, dude. I mean, you can find those resources in the internet itself, right? But I'm going to talk about something else, that where can you find some information like this that no one has talked about, right? Now this is somewhere it gets interesting from here, that understanding your target's platform as a service. Now imagine bugbountybrigade.com is an application, right? How many of you observed that 80% of the applications has a profile picture logo to upload? Yes or no? Just comment yes or no. With my experience, I have pen tested a lot of applications. I have seen a lot of applications while my friends were pen testing, while CTF. Majority of the applications logo, the site logo, or logos, dedicated logos, or profile pictures, whatever you say. Right? So my thing is, upload any profile picture there, and you'll understand that where the photo is getting uploaded. I hope you are getting with me. Upload any profile picture, any picture in that platform, and see request and response via Burbsuit where the photo is getting uploaded. You'll understand majority of the cases, right? If the application is using some cloud platform, definitely, let's say for example AWS, definitely it is going to be S3. For sure, damn sure. There is no doubt at all. You can observe it. Similarly, while downloading stuff from it, right? There is it's kind of social media platform. You're uploading your profile picture, you're uploading some normal stuff, right? And you're downloading some stuff. If there are any download features in that application, provided if there are any features like that, observe from where it is getting downloaded. Is it from S3 bucket or somewhere else, right? All these are important things when you are looking for the platform as a service in the application. Like as I said, look around your HTTP request and response. By looking at the HTTP request and response, majority of the time you'll get to know Amazon CFP, Amazon CF CloudFront, Amazon ALB, application load balancer, and in the response, you'll understand that if the application is hosted in the AWS itself, right? By looking at the responses, and read JS files. I mean, all these techniques which I have written already now, already they have been presented, they have been researched very well with other cloud security researchers or any other security researchers. They have posted multiple blogs, multiple content on them. But I'm telling in a way, in a perspective where you can read these JSFs and understand there are chances that Amazon AWS credentials or any tokens related to Azure, any tokens related to Google, anything might have somewhere there is some relation. There might be some sensitive information leakage in the JS files, right? Since this session is very much limited to 1 hour, I'll not be able to show you each and everything practically, but yeah, I have planned few things practically. Check the CSPs. CSP is just like a content security policy. If you use your Burbsuit, I mean, if you have ever used your Burbsuit, you'll always observe there will be CSPs in the response, right? If you can see them carefully, there are multiple chances that their AWS S3 buckets and some cloud storage assets will be present in your CSPs, right? I'll take in one classic example in one of my finding for a contract, right? I was hunting in an application, right? This was a contract for only 1 week. I had to finish my pen testing. I had to wrap up my reporting part by the 8 days or 9 days. Okay, kindly mute yourself. So for the whole 5 days I was hunting on, I was not able to find even a low hanging fruit. Trust me, I never thought I'll be finding up something like this. I looked at their CSP. I found that there is an S3 bucket, right? And the S3 bucket was starting with something else, assets dot some redactor.com of my target company, right? And then immediately, as a cloud security researcher, I had that urge in my fingers to just go and see what is there in that bucket. So I immediately went up and saw what kind of permissions that the bucket had. There are multiple tools again to verify that, or manually can do it. And then what is the data present in it? Trust me, folks, it has some API tokens and some sensitive data. To be honest, I was not able to understand What is that sensitive information? But you can ask me, dude, how did you find that then it is a sensitive? There were some API keys, definitely, but which I was able to connect only if I can connect to their VPN. But as a security researcher, I had to report it, right? Only if I can connect to that VPN, I'll be able to use this API keys. But first of all, I had to connect to that VPN, right? So the severity went low, but they rewarded with some $500 or $550 for that, right? So always look at your CSP anywhere. If you find any bunch of data or chunk of data, please look for cloud related services or cloud related data, logs, or it might be anything. Right? The last sixth one is using third party tools. So you might be thinking, dude, what tool tells us what kind of tech stack it is? To be honest, there are multiple tools. For example, let's say this is a classic website where you can learn about hack tricks in the cloud, right? If I wanted to know what tech stack it is using, you can see analytics, CDN, Cloudflare, and then JavaScript libraries and all. Can you see this? IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Where it is hosted? Google Cloud. Definitely, this is hosted in the Google Cloud. So similarly, I'm not disclaimer. I'm not promoting any stuff to do with the malicious activity and all. Just telling you, right? So similarly, there are multiple chances. There are multiple tools where it'll just grab the website data and tell you the what is the platform as a service or infrastructure as a service that they are using it, right? So any questions up to here? Anyone? Any questions? How S3 bucket example is related to CSP? Uday Shankar, yeah. So how does your, I mean, what is the basic purpose of your CSP? If you can write it, I'll tell you how it is related to your S3 bucket. Right? In your CSPs, right, you'll be mentioning what domains to allow, what domains to not allow. Definitely, right? So with that in process, I have some couple of screenshots. If you are in the that community, Bug Bounty community WhatsApp, I'll just mask the domain name and all. I'll send the screenshot. So there was this bucket name which was allowed to get the data from the site, right? So that is the reason that CSP is related to S3 bucket. Any other questions? Can you show an example of CSP? Yeah, that's what the example I have is photo. I'll send the photo in the WhatsApp. So when you say the default config at the start of the session, does that mean some sort of low-hanging fruits that can be discovered easily without much effort? No. Okay, good question though. But when I say default configuration, do you think the cloud provider is really stupid to make it misconfigured when it is make it misconfigured wantedly that it is a default configuration? Yeah, some years back, AWS S3 made that public. I mean, read write stuff as public, right? Public without any authentication. You'll be able to read and write to any bucket. So, but later on, they made each and every default configuration as secured version. For example, if you want to witness this, go to your AWS console, create any bucket, and see if it is by default it is getting into your private or public. Similarly, not only S3 buckets, EBS snapshots, AMI images, anything. If you create any other resource in your AWS, by default it is secured. By default it is secured. But if you are into consulting firm or if you are into any security company that you are doing pen testing regularly, you might have heard this common term called business requirements, right? Many of you will be able to relate to this. Business requirements doesn't mean that you can make your stuff public, right? Your security is more important than your business requirement. As a security engineer, it's our role to make business secure, at the same time suggesting them the best security practices, right? So by default it is not misconfigured. People make it misconfigured, then we'll be using it. Where I can get domains allowed for CSP. You'll be able to see in the CSP itself, dude. CSP is a content security policy which is present in your response header itself. So you'll be able to see via burp suite, request response caption while you capture the request and response for auditing or doing some security testing, right? You'll be able to see your CSPs in the response itself. So there, go and find out the bucket names, or if there is any allowed domains, what are the non-allowed domains. They'll be writing it. It will be mentioned very clearly. I hope I might have screenshots. I'll definitely share with you very soon. And then finding misconfigured cloud assets. So when I say finding your assets, right? So what are assets you need to focus, right? So folks, let's do one thing. I'll be taking out one example as AWS. I'll set the standard as AWS. I'll talk about everything about AWS. So it's your research and your understanding to make it work out for all the cloud providers. Let's say for Google, let's say for Azure, right? Storage point, as I spoke about S3 buckets, and then compute instances that is running on the previous version of instance metadata service 1 or instance metadata service 2, or if sometimes the application is not balanced very well for request handling and all, if the company is more focused or cost or billing, making sure that their billing don't go skyrocket, and definitely if they don't use load balancers, basic firewall, definitely you can witness those tag traces in the applications which got hosted in the AWS. And then snapshots and images and container registries, right? Let's do some practical stuff, right? So as I spoke about something related domains and all, where can you find your let's say if I'm talking about Dell.com, which was an VDP now in the background, right? You might have know this particular Dell.com as one of the biggest VDP from the background programs, right? So your census is something that anything that related to Dell.com, which will print out here, right? It might be SSL, it might be certificate, TLS certificates, or it might be anything related to domain, IP address, port opens, and I don't suggest you to check for port opens and all, because I suggest you to do manually via Nmap and all. Right? As you can see from the left side, it is telling from Amazon, from Akamai. Akamai, most probably they might be using CDN. Right? Akamai CDN and firewall are very famous. So some Microsoft, and dude, the thing is, Dell.com is such a huge organization, which might use multiple cloud vendors, right? As I said, no company or no top companies who won't use single tech stack. They might be using multiple providers, right? Now, the other concept of knowing about multiple cloud providers, we'll talk about it later. First of all, let's focus on the AWS, Amazon related stuff. Okay, let's see what all Amazon related stuff has hosted in the census, or which became public, right? So um, from here you'll be able to understand that this is a machine IP, definitely, and it says EC2, or it might be database. RDS also comes into the EC2 itself. You might be getting a multiple IP address, but again, if their security groups are very much strong, that you'll not be able to ping even, because they might have restricted it, because in such organizations, right, they might have restricted, but it's our end of the day, it's as a security engineer, you'll be invoking each and every IP address to check if it is publicly accessible, right? The second concept is, with the same Dell.com name, there might be multiple fake assets too. Make sure that you might not falling into the pitfall that finding up. It's just like a CTF. I mean, you are going to find, you are doing some treasure and finding up some Dell assets, right? Similarly, if you go for this showdown, if you do SSL Dell.com, this is my favorite search. I just do SSL Dell.com. You can find multiple IP address from different countries with their certificates, right? So let's open this particular IP. Let's see what all information that we can find. There are a couple of ports open, right? And what all I can see with the ASN, definitely. I mean, most of the people know how to use the ASN. If you can get the ASN, there might be a huge chances that you'll be able to get the IP ranges too, right? So the other reason why I'm suggesting you to the other reason why I'm suggesting you to do this kind of search in scan and all is, uh, there is a huge chance that you might be finding some misconfigurations from that domain IPs. It is really hectic to maintain, or do it securely, that maintain all the networks to be, running services to be up to date, and no port will be open, right? And even though the services are up to date, don't put it default configuration for the service. There has to be a lot of background on ground research or groundwork to be done to make it each and everything secure. And with that, for the matter of fact, nothing is secured basically. So you can go and hunt it down, what all assets that you can find, right? And then what can you brute force? Majority of the network based services, very few will have that basic firewall for a network, but majority of the services, if they are public, trust me folks, most of the network pen testing, most of the network attacks you see in the internet, right, they contain they contain the brute force attack via Hydra or something else. If the domain names or sorry, the usernames or the passwords are the default, you'll be finding out by brute forcing them. The other way of exploiting the network-based services on and all these services are by the outdated patches. If they contain some outdated patches of, let's say, misconfigurations or the vulnerabilities in them, definitely. Let's say, for example, in the latest example, there is something called HTTPD I have seen. With this HTTPD, what all did you? How many of you know there is an Apache HTTPD bug? How many of you know? Just wanted to know. Uh, how many of you know this CV has Apache HTTPD one, right? Contains tokens already. Definitely, Jackie. Not only tokens, sometimes AWS credentials. What to look to here for census page for cloud instances. I mean, what vulnerabilities we can. Again, please don't imagine stuff that you'll be directly finding vulnerabilities. Why are you expecting to find directly vulnerabilities via census page itself? If it is that easy, sometimes it might get easy by, you know, if you have seen multiple bug bounty hunter posts, right? 5 minutes in P1. Yeah, server status and all. 5 minutes in P1. So what is that 5 minutes in P1? Those are the silliest bugs or most easiest bugs. Sometimes, if your fate is really very good, bro, trust me. If your fate is really very good, you might find out from the census page itself some default login admin panel, and you might end up being the default credentials there. Right? That is your completely of fate. So from the census page, not only from the census page, from the even Shodan also, there are multiple blogs and articles which are written how can you use Shodan, how can you use census to find sensitive information. Every information you see on the screen right now is sensitive. Don't you think it is sensitive? Don't you think you can go and ping up that IP, you will get to know DNS information? Don't you think? Definitely. And then I would like to recommend you how can Shodan be your friend. This is one of the Shodan is this is one of my favorite blog from my friend Vijay Simhareddy. So you can see how he exploited, how he found vulnerability in the Netflix. Definitely, if you read the whole blog, right, you'll understand how easy it is. I believe it is the trained eye to spot, so called it easy. Definitely, Anish, it definitely needs a trained eye to spot some information like that. But what I ask you to, what I recommend you to do is, if you keep on hunting, if you keep on learning cloud stuff, cloud misconfiguration, don't you think by the time you see some kind of information from the census or Shodan, don't you think you'll get some more insights, or you might go and do some enumeration, right? So that is the main stuff. So when I say about S3 buckets, so we are actually launching some tool nearby. Very soon by the August 10. So the tool allows you to find the public S3 buckets, public GCP buckets, public Azure buckets, storage accounts or storage blobs just by running with the domain name, right? So I guess now let's talk about from the AWS console itself. Okay. So from the presentation, as I spoke about S3 buckets, majority of the time you'll end up finding your S3 buckets in your applications profile pictures when downloading stuff, in the request response stuff, in your burp shoot. If you can go and search s3.aws amazonaws.com, there are high chances, if the platform is hosted in AWS, then definitely there are high chances that you can find a bucket. But I'm not sure if it can be public or private. It is up to you that you have to go and test if it is public and private. Though it is public, sometimes few buckets are meant to be public. Don't go blindly and go report it and get your reputation down in HackerOne, or get some -1 point in Bugcrowd. Please make sure you identify if the storage has some sensitive information, because sometimes buckets are intentionally made public to host some public data. Let's say for example some PDFs, right? If you still think those PDFs are not meant to be public, it contains some sensitive information of organization, then go right, right. So again, I don't want to take with the compute also. It's a sort of classic attack on AWS IMDS, where you can extract the AWS metadata. And similarly with the stack traces, if application is not really maintained well, you might end up getting stack traces. Stack traces are really important because you might end up seeing the environment variables, right? And then snapshots. So for snapshots, images contain these are the new topics for most of you, even if you are cloud security engineers or bug bounty hunters. The first 2 points you might end up finding in Jason Haddock's bug bounty methodology, or someone else's bug bounty methodology. They might include the storage and compute instances, or AWS cognitive pool, finding up cognitive pool IDs. But very few have seen snapshots, images, container registries that they are mentioning in their talks. So I decided to show the last three stuff via console. So, uh, so yeah, this is the gallery where you can end up finding the ECR public repositories, right? So to put this ECR public repositories, the account should be verified, right? The account should be definitely verified. But I'm telling this one of the asset because who knows? End of the day, if you start owning this repository and start navigating, going down towards the repository, you might find some sensitive information there, right? But I just wanted to tell you that never ever ignore the ECR public galleries or snapshot, because you never know what it contains, right? Go just give a look if you can find some company information inside it, which might not be intended to public. As you can see, Dell itself has 238 downloads. Majority of the times, what happens is, let's say there is a company called Bug Bounty Brigade. Okay, Bug Bounty Brigade has deployed their one of the ECR registry to be public. They made it public for a period of time because they want to do service for their clients. It becomes really crucial when a company is serving their clients via some ECR public repositories. They are submitting their code and all. Then there is a chance, if you can find this company's name here, you might end up finding this repositories. I'm not doing a post exploitation here because your post exploitation takes a lot of time, and I'll show my own blogs which I've done, where I've done the post exploitation for some services, right? And your ECR is done. Now let's go talk about snapshots. First of all, how many of you know what is a snapshot? Anyone? Bro, is it creating any security issue if we think as a hacker?
There were a few questions about, please check
Yeah,
those
I'm just checking it. Drop it. How to observe images getting downloaded from S3, an example. Okay. Okay. How to observe that images getting downloaded from S3? There are multiple S3. How to observe that image is getting downloaded from S3? I didn't get your question. Acha, you want me to show downloading any S3 bucket contents? Please reply, Abdul Karim. And then, should we report S3 bucket containing profile pic public? No. So that's what. Good question though. I'm telling you, report it when you are able to see any other profile picture. Let's take a classic example. Okay. Let's say there is an application. Okay. Where you can upload your profile pictures, right? You uploaded your profile picture. Have you ever heard about directed traversal? Directed traversal is not only limited to web, folks. It is also applicable in the cloud. So let's say your profile profile picture is uploading in the S3 bucket. Try to navigate. Try any path diversal. Try to delete the first folder name. Try to remove your profile picture. See if you can see all the other profile pictures, right? So there is one example bug. If you have heard about, there is a metadata containing with the image, EXIF data. So when EXIF data is getting reported and getting some bounty, why don't you think reporting any other people's profile picture, and if you can extract metadata from that profile picture? I hope if you are a bug bounty hunter, definitely you will relate to this content, because I've done multiple reports like this where I got at least minimal bounty, though the actual impact is very less. I'm not a huge, very great hunter, right? I'm not really a big bug bounty hunter that who always gets $1,000. Even if I get $100, $50, I'm really happy with it. I just wanted to share those techniques with you folks, right? So similarly, if you can see the any other public profile picture and extract something like this, uh, image, exif data, exif data viewer. If you put any profile picture URL here, right, you might end up seeing the images metadata. I don't know how many of you know this. Please, if you know this, definitely you'll be able to relate this. That if you can see any other profile picture data and you can get the metadata, definitely you can report it. But if it is duplicate, sorry for that. Is it creating a security issue if it think as a hacker? I didn't get your question. Snapshot for, didn't get your question. It's like a wayback machine, I guess. Okay, server backup, snapshot kind of backup. Yeah, kind of backup, yes. Backup to retrieve noun version, exactly. Instance backup, yes, exactly. Snapshot is a copy. Yeah, all are true. Content discover, I didn't get your question. Guru Prasad, exif data, exactly. Um, Pick2Map is one of the tool. Thanks. Yeah, Pick2Map is also one of the tool. Believe I didn't get your question here, Abdul. So if you want to get AWS S3 bucket data dump, right, there are multiple commands that you can use. Basically, right now I don't have any bucket to be here. Let's say the basic command would be AWS S3 CP, right, and then your S3 colon, right, and then I'm just writing the syntax so you can find it in the internet though. Bucket name and then path, right? So since imagine if you are not doing this activity without any credentials, you can use this flag called nodes and requests. Not sure how many of you know this. You can use this nodes and requests to give your local path here, definitely where to download, right? So downloading path and then dot to recursively download all the data, right? So this is a basic command where you can use to download the S3 bucket content, but though you can find this in the internet if you can just type how to download S3 bucket data, right? Last, I'll tell you how I use ChatGPT too, right? Then any questions still? We can access S3 bucket in the browser also, right? Definitely you can access, but I would recommend you to watch it via command line because it's not like I'm really like in command line, because command line will eliminate a lot of stuff that you don't even want to see, right? So let's say organization like Insta exists and they don't allow to view private accounts profile pic, and we get AWS S3 bucket and we are able to, exactly, thanks Alpesh, something like this. I mean, see, if I go on talking about like this, there are multiple cases that I can talk about. There are multiple misconfigurations that you can change, right? A single misconfiguration might have low impact, but if you chain it with something else, just like how I did, viewing a profile picture of someone is not really impact, right? But if I can get some exif data, it is something interesting. So something like that, if you can chain up with any other vulnerabilities, right? And then let's, okay. So what all I've shown the container registries. Let me show some snapshots too. So snapshots, you can get it from the your instance. Go to your EC2 instances, and from the left side of the console, you can see the snapshots. As majority of you replied really correct, that snapshots are something the instance state of a particular time, right? Or some people have replied with the backup, definitely true. Or there are multiple reasons, right? So for example, I created a snapshot with a name called Infrasec July 8 research work. I made it public. Two things to be noted here. First thing is, when you create a snapshot, right? Like for example, let me create a snapshot. It's not a problem. Let me give some description. Let me add a tag, give a name. Let me give value something else, ASDXD. Right? So it will create a volume-based snapshot from a specific volume. Let's say I'll take this particular one. Right? Let's give me a second. Create a snapshot. It is created a snapshot, right? Now, just wanted to ask a question. How many of you think it is public or private? Finra doesn't consider private profile pictures as worthy of bounty, tried and tested. Nice. Dude, he has taken Insta as an example. Don't get offended. You might take any other example as a company. So just answer my question if anyone of you can. We have created a snapshot. Do you think it is private or public? Please be honest. It's totally fine if you do a mistake. I don't know your names. You don't see me again of this after this talk, right? Please be open, be comfortable. Public, private, private, um, public, so you are able to see it. Um, nice. So, folks, as I said in the beginning itself, it will create a private. All your default configurations are meant to be uh, private. As you can see, I created a some random snapshot just now, and it is named under private snapshots. Can you see this here? Sorry, I'm not able to zoom. So this is a private snapshot. If you go for public snapshots, right, there are multiple snapshots that you can actually take. I'm not encouraging anyone to do this stuff. Just wanted to show. Let's say if I press del, not sure if there are any snapshot with the del. But if I go for infra sec, which I created a snapshot, I made it public, so legally no one can claim on it. So this is a snapshot. Okay, I created and made it public. You can use it though, but you'll find nothing because I created it. So yeah, I mean, there are again 500 concepts that I might be missing right now regarding the snapshot, but I consider only these concepts are enough as a bug bounty hunter if you are hunting for some domain related stuff, right? Let's say for images. When I talk about images, my recent blog on something will be coming up very soon, that unauthenticated treasures in AWS. Stay tuned, where I'll be writing about what a bug bounty hunter can go and search on a particular attack target when it is hosted in AWS only. Mention that only it is in AWS, and what all services that you can access without any authentication or tokens or any credentials, right? So stay tuned for that, and which includes this S3 buckets, S3 buckets, right? This is an example of snapshot. Let's talk about AMIs, Amazon Machine Engines. So this is also something like that, but your snapshots are something related to your both machine instances. If you have seen this volume related snapshot and instance related snapshot, right? So it means that you can save a particular instance at a point, you can save a particular volume or any volume at a particular instance, you can save it and do a backup. Then I just wanted to understand what is the difference between AMI and a snapshot. Anyone? Even if you are from GCP or Azure, you might be from any cloud background. So what do you think? What is the basic difference between Amazon Machine Engine or Machine Image or images or snapshots? Anyone? Please take your time. Just wanted to, or help me in one thing. Right, config snapshot. Okay, no idea. I want all of you to open your new tab. Please go and do a Google search. Difference between AMI and snapshot. I'll be giving you 1 minute. It's 8:28. By 8:30, I'll begin the next one. Everyone, open your new tab. Search for what is the basic difference between AMI and snapshot. If anyone understood, please give a text. Dude, please don't copy, man. I can literally see that you have copied this. Hopefully, you have seen the basic difference between a snapshot and AMI, right? I'll tell you. So basically, a snapshot is something that you'll be able to exactly that EBS volume ka you'll be able to do a snapshot, but non-EBS based stuff you have to do AMIs, right? So let's say for AMI, there are multiple that companies between AMIs between internal network or customers, right? So two things to remember here. Okay, let's talk about something else. I'm a company, you are my customer. Okay, do I really think your requirement is to make an operating system, or you need some specifications with a particular OS? I made the specifications, but I didn't care about the security. I didn't care about the sensitive information being present in that cloud. Sorry, being present in that instance, right? So now imagine going around, if hackers can, or attackers or bug bounty hunters can find this machine images which has some sensitive information. Not really against Dell. Even my monitor Dell. Seriously, I love Dell. Just in case if this recording gets leaked, I wanted to be safe. So okay. See, I love really Dell, so I typed 2 times Dell. Okay. So these are the machine images where you can get backup and do some research work, right? But not only Dell, in any other company, right? So you can take, since I'm taking Dell because it has a public bug bounty program (PDP), so I had to do basic search to show you an example. You don't find anything in Dell because it is already secured everything, right? With that saying, what after finding them? Till now, I showed you how to find, what to look at them, right? Now, what after finding them, right? Do you really have some permissions? Let me stop presenting for a moment. Do you really have some permissions to go and attach the volume to your instance and do some research work? As I said in the beginning itself, it completely depends on your scope, right? The moment you found, right, the moment you found that if there is some, if you think there is some snapshot, it is public, or if there is some S3 bucket, it is public, or if you think there is something, some cloud asset, right? To be honest, I didn't cover a couple of things right now. For example, AWS Cognitive Pool IDs, SNS messages, how to find SNS public messages and all. There are multiple things on a cloud, but since this is a somewhat little bit inclined towards cloud beginners who are actually wanted to increase their scope by adding the cloud to their assets. So I didn't include each and everything, but if I get a chance to present one more time, I'll definitely able to show those also. But as of now, check your scope, check your permissions, check your actual what all you role or permission that you have to perform the activity on such assets, right? No company will definitely allow you. In case if you find and if you feel if it is something sensitive, please use some VMO virtual box and then use your test account of the AWS cloud. So just do a research. If you find any sensitive information or if you think if there is some sensitive information, please don't do post exploitation stuff when you are doing bug bounty. It is not at all suggested. As a bug bounty hunter or a security researcher, majority of you might be from the companies. Your role is to find the bugs and submit it. If it is really a bug or no, it is their decision to make it. It might be sometimes intentional feature that they has to make it public, right? And then one last thing. What if you are a beginner? This is very important because if you are a beginner, definitely you might be getting afraid to attach your instances to something else or do some security research work on their cloud assets, right? But what I suggest you is there are multiple, there are multiple assets. I mean, sorry, multiple resources that where you can find online, where you can go do a study about that particular service. Imagine if I find some snapshot, okay? I found some snapshot from a company called Bug Bounty Brigade. I wanted to do some research on a snapshot, but trust me, I'm really a beginner. I'm really a beginner who doesn't know what is a snapshot, how to access that snapshot, how to verify that snapshot as having some sensitive information, right? And provided, remember this one thing, you'll not be ever, I mean, you'll not be able to see that. Let's say you found an S3 bucket or snapshot. There is no guarantee that this belongs to a particular domain, Bug Bounty Brigade or Dell.com or some domain. There is no guarantee. I can make a S3 bucket, for example. Let's do a short activity, okay? And let me create one S3 bucket. S3 bucket. So I can make an S3 bucket with any other company's name, right? Let's say if I can create this bucket name called Dell.com .public. Let's see if the name is available. See, as I said, by default it will be block all public external, but I'm a noob security engineer, right? So I'll do everything public. So let's say I created this bucket. Let's see if it gets created. Yes, it got created, right? Dell.com.public. So something similar like this, people can create S3 buckets. People can create multiple services with the multiple assets of the cloud with the any other organization's name. The most important part of the ending, the end is, just give me a second. So, hold on. So there is a repository, or you might say documentation, or you might be saying anything with this. So there is something called Cloud Hacktricks. I really love the information which is present here. Even I use whatever services. If I'm not sure about the service, if I wanted to learn about some service, go to YouTube, learn about the service, come back and see how you can enumerate about that service. Let's say, for example, privilege escalation, or it's not privilege escalation. Let's go with the basic services, right? Let's say Cognito enum or ECR enum. Just we spoke, right? You can do this provided this AWS ECR and ECS all stuff doesn't have APIs. You'll not be able to do it via console, right? So you had to do it via AWS AWS command line. You had to do it via console itself. You had to go to the browser of AWS and then log into your AWS account. Just go for searching about your domain name, right? So I would highly request if you are beginner into cloud security and want to understand how you can increase your attack surface, do some research about this service. In case if you find some S3 bucket, go learn about the S3 bucket and come back here and learn about the basic enumeration part and how you can exploit it further though, depending upon your requirement, right? And there is one more thing called hacking the cloud. Even this will contain a lot of knowledge if you want to learn about the cloud security. I'm not a paid promoter here, to be honest, but I love these resources here, so that's the only reason I'm presenting this. So the end, we have came to an end. You might have learned something new. I'm not sure if you have learned something or not, but I wanted to make sure that you will be secure. Don't go blindly and dump the data of AWS S3 buckets, dump the data of AWS snapshots, right? So why the reason is majority of the time, right, people are spreading malwares in these assets. They know bug bounty hunters are the one who come and explore the misconfigured S3 buckets, misconfigured cloud assets. But imagine if those services have some malwares or some virus. So definitely, you went to hack and you got hacked. I mean, though it looks very weird, it looks stupid though, but I won't recommend you to do stuff. Whatever you're doing it, do it in your own virtual box so that even though you get hacked, there is nothing public. So the other reason is as a bug bounty hunter, right? You might be ending up doing a lot of recon. You might be ending up doing a lot of personal work in your own laptop. So imagine if the virus or a malware got injected in your machine, and then your whole sensitive information went into the dark web or somewhere else. Some random person calls you for money and all. So I'm not that random person, to be honest, but just letting you know. Okay. So thank you so much, folks. I hope really you enjoyed the session and you liked the session. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Bhagwan, for your valuable session. So yeah. So please share your resources, your LinkedIn in the chat. Yep. Thank you. So yeah, on the behalf of Bug Bounty Brigade community, I want to extend our heartfelt thanks to Bhagwan Bollina for his exceptional contribution to our community session on finding the configured cloud asset. The knowledge and insight shared one has been presented in empowering bug hunters and answers practices. We would like to thank Bhagwan's commitment to fostering knowledge sharing and community growth. Thank you, Bhagwan Bollina, for your invaluable contribution and for being an inspiration to bug hunters worldwide. Your dedication to cybersecurity and bug hunting community is commendable, and we are truly grateful for the impact you have made for the Bug Bounty Brigade community. I would like to say thanks from in the behalf of PV community. And yeah, one more thing, guys, please follow him on the LinkedIn, and do share, do read his Medium articles. And yeah, guys, one more thing I want from your side is take a screenshot, post it on LinkedIn, and if you guys want the recording of this session, do share your review on the LinkedIn. Tag Bhagwan, tag Bug Bounty Brigade, and so that we can like spread the Bug Bounty community world to the world, to the LinkedIn, and also we want a favor from your side. That favor would be like, see, this is the community driven sessions, right? If one of you have the right skill set, like if you are into bug bounty, if you are into cloud security, if you are into web security, application security, and if you want to contribute to the community, we would be happy to host you. So yeah, thanks a lot guys for joining the session. And if you have any queries, please ask. Let's wind up the session. And guys, please make sure that you give the review in the LinkedIn. That would motivate us to conduct more such sessions. As you have seen that we had the session in the morning, and we are now having the session in the evening. Uh, so even we are trying to level up. It's all your support we need. Thanks a lot, and whole team brigade. Thanks for your all your participants. Yep. Yeah. So let's wind up. If you have any queries, yeah. Yuvraj, thank you, Bhagwan. Yeah. Yuvraj, please end the meeting.